Well, it is a pleasure to be joined now here on GCR by an absolute Baltimore icon, and he has a new book available right now. I'm holding it up. It's called Muggsy: My Life from a Kid in the Projects to the Godfather of Small Ball. He is the pride of Dunbar. He is the great Muggsy Bogues, and he's with us on GCR. Muggsy, it's Glenn back in Baltimore. It's always great to catch up with you. Thank you so much for taking a couple of minutes for us this morning.
Glenn, thanks for having me.
I got to tell you, I am not finished yet. I just got through the Space Jam chapter, so I believe I think I'm 11 chapters in. I have learned things about you that, as much as we've known you here over the years, I did not know. And I don't want to give all of it away, but I have to talk to you about. I had no idea that you had been the victim of a shooting when you were a kid growing up in Baltimore. And I know it could have been far worse. It was just a buckshot, but my God, man, I would imagine being an undersized basketball player cannot compare at all to knowing what you had been through at a young age in your life.
Yeah, that was a challenge for me growing up in the inner city of Baltimore. You know, where I came from, I was growing up in the projects of Lafayette. I mean, outside your door was a challenge. But, that was just the atmosphere that that we was grown, that we knew. It felt normal for me. Unfortunately, being at the wrong place at the wrong time, a young boy, a fight had broken out outside the apartment building. One of the boys took a rock and broke one of the store owner's windows. And he came running out with went to his shed and grabbed his double-barrel shotgun and just started shooting. Fortunate, the bullet missed my head, but unfortunately, the buckshot hit me. So
Unreal.
that was an experience.
Unreal, man. And you were like, what, you were 5 at that point? Holy mackerel, man. Like this story. Muggsy, I bring this up to put it into context. As I read the opening chapters of the book, I started thinking, would do you think you would have been able, knowing what you had to do in order to succeed at your size and do something completely unprecedented? There have been undersized players, but not your size, right? Did you
Right.
need the upbringing and the toughness? We use the term Baltimore tough a lot. Did you need that in order to become the phenomenon that you ultimately became in your basketball career?
Absolutely. I mean, that's where it all stems from, my upbringing, the confidence that I was able to gather during my journey, being able to go through all the adversity and hearing all the naysayers. I mean, that's what fueled me more than ever. I felt like, it was more so just wanted to prove everybody wrong that a kid at my size was capable of playing the game just like anybody else. And I always said that it's just a matter of if you have the ability to play it, if you have the ability to impact the game the same way, then you need to be out there with those guys. And my attitude was if I played against the best, I have success against the best, I must be included with the best.
Were you ever, Muggsy, worried that you just like weren't going to get the? I mean, you referenced that there were some people that didn't believe in you, but were you ever worried that no matter what you did, that it just might not work out for you because you would be prevented simply because of your size?
But I didn't have that thought process. I always kept believing that, you just continue to keep breaking down the barriers. The game of basketball is a team game. It's all made up of position, and the position I played was the point guard, which more or less the extension of a coach, and that gathered a lot of responsibility. And having the ability to understand that role and how to make guys around you better, as well as get your stuff off at the same time, it allowed me to have a high IQ of the game and allowed me to keep climbing up the ladder.
Again, the book is Muggsy: My Life from a Kid in the Projects to the Godfather of Small Ball. It's available right now. We're going to link up to it on our Twitter account at Glenn Clark Radio so you can get it. Muggsy, I admittedly had also forgotten that you didn't spend your first year in high school at Dunbar, and there was some controversy involved with that. Are you still convinced that maybe somebody didn't want you necessarily to be at Dunbar during all of that?
Well, I believe that one year they didn't,
Yeah.
because growing at that time, people don't realize that when it was time to go to high school, just the year before they start sending kids to their zone schools. And unfortunately for me, I got sent down to Southern, even though Dunbar was right across the street from my house. Reggie Lewis, Reggie Wans, as well as David Wingate, we
Yep.
all got sent to other places. But they was fortunate enough to gather their records to get their records to be transferred down to the school. But when we went to go locate mine at Southern, unfortunately they was gone. And I think maybe the the coach and the rest. The coach has something to do with
Well, it worked out for you ultimately,
it.
and you got to spend incredible magic years, obviously at Dunbar. I was just chatting with Sam Cassell the other day, and it was fascinating after, particularly having read your book and listening to him talk about it. I don't know that people around here anymore, unfortunately, the way that like private schools have kind of started dominating the basketball world, maybe understood what it meant to be a Dunbar basketball player in the 1980s. Can you put into words what it meant to you? And obviously, it was more, especially as you detail your relationship with Reggie Williams, to be around those guys. But what it just meant to anyone your age to be part of the Dunbar basketball program.
Well, that was the big dream. I mean, as a kid, wanted to play at Dunbar. I mean, Dunbar had that reputation. Even though it was a school in our neighborhood, but it was a citywide school. You had to apply for a dental um, degree. Degree. You had to be interested in dentistry in order to go to Dunbar, and that was a stickler for a lot of folks. But for us, we just happen to live in the area. It's not like today's game where everybody out here recruiting, trying to form this superpower team. We all lived in the neighborhood. Myself, David, Reggie Williams, Reggie Lawrence. We all lived in the projects, which was surrounded by the school. So being able to be part of that organization and be part of that program was very special because Coach Wade had, he put he had a pretty strong organization going on there where he had a lot of success and a lot of players that were successful came through that. So that's all we wanted to do. My entire family went to Dunbar, so that was a dream that came true for me.
Wow, it's powerful to hear you talk about that. Reading you talk about the bricks and what that did for you. I was joking with Sam the other day. I said, "Hey, man, did you make Sam Jr. ever one with the bricks?" Like, I feel like there are guys that could maybe use it, but it was fascinating, reading you talk about what it genuinely did. That you truly felt like it translated in game situations. The experience that you guys got running with those bricks.
Oh, absolutely. And back then, Coach Wade, he had that vision beyond we ever thought because he experienced it all. We just didn't have the equipment in order to get the things done that he wanted to accomplish. So he used his imagination, and the imagination was getting those bricks, some sandbags, and trying to mentally get us tough for the game of basketball. Those bricks helped out with our fourth quarter. That ball became part of our hand. We
Mm-hmm.
wasn't turning the basketball over. We felt stronger, and then with those sandbags, we felt like, gosh, the game was still could go on because we was in so much condition and a great condition in terms of how coach prepared us. We were just fully prepared for any situation. I think that bricks and those sandbags took our minds away from the game and trained us in the other areas that we desperately needed.
I mean, it worked out quite obviously. You didn't lose, so like it definitely worked during your time at Dunbar. Muggsy Bogues is with us here on GCR again. The book is Muggsy. Muggsy, we talk about the improbability of what it is that you ultimately did during the course of your career. And I think people forget, like, you scored too. Like, you had double digit point seasons. It wasn't just you distributing the ball. Are you at all surprised that there has been no one? I mean, we've seen other talented, especially coming out of Baltimore, undersized players, but it's not like you were a gimmick or something like that. You were an incredible player for a long time. Are you surprised that no one else 5'5" or under has been able to replicate that?
Yeah, I'm really surprised, especially kids from Baltimore. And one of the things I constantly try to emphasize to all the kids here when I always talk to the youth is how to play the game the right way, especially at a small point guard. We all can't play the game the way the bigger guys play it. And I thought we had a couple kids that almost had that opportunity, the likes of the Akil Carr.
Mm-hmm.
Kill was one of the special players that was coming up. We got a kid now, Donnell Rogers, who I love. Shante, he came up during our time. But his son, Donnell, has an opportunity, as
Yep.
well as my grandson. Fat Man, Samartine, bro. So we trying to get them to understand, it's a little more than scoring. You got to be more than scoring. You got to impact this game on the defensive aspect of it, as well as knowing how to run that team and make guys around you better. I think when you looked upon in that light, now coaches start to see a kid can run my program, as opposed to a kid just trying out there just look more for himself.
Is it something that you end up saying to yourself, "Hey, look, if this is my thing, if I'm only the ever guy, like that's powerful. It speaks more to the legacy that you'll have for 30 years, or to what you're saying. Do you say no? I don't. I want there to be more guys like me that get this opportunity because they deserve that. They have the talent to do it.
Absolutely. I don't want to hold this title. I don't want this. I want that next kid who's out there, and I think it may happen because we got this game as such a global entry in terms of so many people are interested in this game, and where we kind of open it up around the world. And we got kids now that's in the Philippines thinking about it. The kids that's in India thinking about it. That we consider small stature individuals. So hopefully we can have someone represent, the smaller stature as opposed to just being small at 6 feet tall. But I believe so. Hopefully, it can happen, during my lifetime because we do have a lot of talented kids that's coming up, and I think, if we continue to keep spreading the message and letting them know how to play this game the right way, and that's one of the things I'm totally emphasizing with my grandson, how to play this game the right way because he's a senior right now,
Yep.
and he's at that stage, and I want to make sure that he understands going forward how to continue to climb the ladder.
I know he was. Can you give me an update on him? I know he was at Calvert Hall and was turning some heads. What's going on with your grandson these days?
Yeah, he's about to enter a new school called Spears in Ohio State.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, he's going down there to. I think it's going to be a good opportunity for him. How they train, how they prepare, and how they put them on a good stage. And one thing I'm also proud of how he continue to keep his academics at a high standard,
It's
and that's
awesome.
something that we continue to stress. So I'm proud of him.
There's two guys I wanted to ask you about. Well, I just keep you for another minute or two here. It's Muggsy Bogues. He's with us on GCR. One, of course, being I got to imagine I know who it is that you're rooting for the rest of the way in the NBA playoffs. The young man that once gave your daughter a diamond ring all those years ago. I got to imagine you're probably still pulling for your buddy Steph Curry, right?
Oh, well, I had to have him do my forward it, so
Yeah.
I got to be able to pull for him. But yes, that's I had my heart was with Steph, and I was hoping that CP could possibly get one before he exit. But I always believed in Steph, and I believe in their organization. Not just the things that he's able to accomplish. Man, it's just mind-boggling to me. So for him to still to be in it, and then still to be there, boy, and for me to also be a former player of the Golden State Warriors, I want to see them win.
Muggsy, did you know, like at a certain point, maybe before other people did, that Steph was special in a way that people, and it's not directly comparable to you because clearly he's taller than you are, but in a way that's similar to you in that he was being overlooked because of his size. Did you know at a younger age how special he was?
Well, special in a way where I knew how special he could shoot the
Yeah.
basketball. He always was small, and he always, small stature, I should say, because he was just slender. And he, as a kid, he just felt like he just wanted to get to 5'3" and that he could make it to the NBA, and that was something that always amazed me. That I changed that perception that no one want to be 6 feet tall anymore. But just watching him over the years and watching him, shoot the basketball, all the way up to the age of 12. I mean, high school. And then when Dell, his 10th grade year, Dell changed his shot and put it up above his shoulders. That really took it to a new level. But really, from his play from Davidson, it just really let me know that he belongs on that big stage because the performance that he was displaying out there,
Yep.
it gave him the confidence, and then that really showed us that he was ready for that next level.
Well, yeah, and it turns out he's one of the greatest players in the history of the sport.
Mm-hmm.
And then you mentioned Chris Paul, obviously, and I know there's a personal relationship there, and there's been a lot of people that have come out of the woodworks this week with a lot of things to say about Chris Paul. What do you make of all of the criticism that he faces for having not won a championship. I think it's amazing to me that we're blocking out the fact that he's one of the greatest point guards in the history of the game. He's at this elevated place in his life, and he's still been able to play at such a high level, and yet everybody's just using this as a way to kind of take shots at Chris Paul.
Well, Chris is not worried about any of that. He's really secure with himself, his career. I mean, he just had a little probably a bad week and a half in terms of the playoffs concerned. He turned 37. Things people kind of point out saying that everything went downhill from there. But that happens in a game of basketball. He realizes he's getting older. Chris going to be back. He understands what it takes. It wasn't just him; it was the entire team that didn't show up. But he always would take the credit. I mean, take the blame for it because he's the point guard and he feels like he's responsible for that. But Chris is fine. Chris going to be fine. I mean, the career that he's had. I mean, of course, it's a Hall of Fame career. It's mind-boggling that people out here taking shots at Chris right now. But his number speaks for itself. His years, his play, being the top of top of his position for the 17 years that he's been in the league speaks volumes. So, like I said, it comes with the territory when you don't have good games, and he understands that. He'll ride it. He'll ride it out. It's just a little conversation right now, and once he get back on the court and start dishing out 17 assists and putting up 20 points again, things are shut back down again.
How many times in your life to this day do you still have somebody approach you? It's funny you brought up Darnell earlier because I actually remember talking to him and him saying, "Of course I know Muggsy Bogues, Space Jam." Like how many times do you still have people walk up to you and they know you as the guy from Space Jam as much as they know you from anything you did in your basketball career?
Well, from the ages from 6 to about 30, that's probably
Yeah.
what they remember.
Yeah.
That I'm just a Space Jam guy that, got his fame on the movie scene, not even knowing that I had a basketball career. But that's all good and dandy. That's fine. It gives the opportunity for them to do a little research. But it's that just come with the territory. I'm assuming I've been away from the game
Yeah.
over 20 plus years, so that's normal. But it's just good to have those opportunities where people still recognize you and being able to talk about the journey that you was able to go beyond.
The book again is Muggsy, My Life from a Kid in the Projects to the Godfather of Small Ball. It is available right now, and you can get it. We have linked it up at Glenn Clark Radio on Twitter to find it on Amazon. Muggsy, what else can we plug for you? Anything else you got going on that we can put a word in for you about?
Well, yes, I'm in Baltimore here in town and visiting all the home folks
Awesome.
and all my family. I got a book signing Wednesday, May the 18th here at Bar One from 6 to 8 for my new memoir. So I hope everybody could come out and hang out with me and catch up a little bit and enjoy the book. It's a good read, and so I'll be thankful, to see everybody out.
That's Bar One on Lancaster Street tonight from 6 to 8 for you to get your copy of Muggsy signed by the man himself. Muggsy Bogues, great to catch up with you, man. Have really enjoyed reading the book. Thank you for taking the time for us as always. Let's do it again soon, all right?
Absolutely, again. Thanks a lot for having me, partner.